The following is a special presentation of the Minty Organization for the Performing Arts.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Front Row Conversations. Well, you see, things are a little different here tonight because we've had a little loosening of some of the COVID restrictions. So I'm very, very happy to have this next guest in person. And I think of him like a son because he was my son some 13 years ago in a production of Bye Bye Birdie. Since then, he won a Minty, graduated from one of the nation's finest schools, and is now on the way to medical school. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Regis class of 2015, your 2014 Outstanding Supporting Actor, Mr. Michael Peruggia joins us tonight.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thanks for having me.
You got your walk on.
I did. I really wanted it.
Well, this is nice. I'm glad you're here in person. We have beverage for you.
Something to drink.
Yes, this is very nice. We're moving up in the world. So you have been immensely involved in theater really your entire life. We'll go back to where it started.
It started when I was in third grade and I went to my cousin's dance recital and I told my mom that I wanted to take dancing lessons and my dad didn't want me to do that. So I ended up taking acting classes at the Actors Workshop.
At the Actors Workshop. And what was your first show with us? You were
Wizard of Oz.
Was that? And that was the summer of 2006. And you were one of the Lollipop?
I was the middle Lollipop.
You were the middle Lollipop of the Lollipop Guild in Munchkin Land. And that set you off on a great career in the Actors Workshop.
Absolutely.
You were also in Honk.
I was ugly.
That's the lead duckling.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
the lead duckling.
You were the ugly duckling.
Yeah.
You also wore Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
In a production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And then, like I said, we did Bye Bye Birdie in the summer of 2008, I want to say.
I'm really impressed how many exact years you have here.
That's my job. You didn't come with the facts.
Totally.
And I was Mr. McAfee, and you were Randolph?
Oh, yeah,
Rudolph?
you're Harry. And
Yeah.
I'm
Whatever the son
Rudolph.
was.
Randolph
or Rudolph.
And I played Jax. I remember playing Jax and reading comic books.
And that was a lot of fun. And then what was the first high school show you had? Because a lot of our guests that were Actors Workshop children made their debuts on the high school stage before high school.
Yeah. So my first would be The Wiz at Farrell, which I forgot that would be my first show. But I wore a red wig.
How much
and I
did you
was a
research
munchkin.
tonight?
Well, I was thinking actually because I actually did another high school show before getting to high school because Villa's Bye Bye Birdie, they needed a
You weren't in high school
Harvey
yet?
Johnson. I was in 8th grade.
You're
and I
right.
got called the day of the show.
And that was
because
a year
of
later.
That was 8th grade, yeah.
Yes. So you do The Wiz
I
at
do The Wiz.
Farrell. Monty is the director. Tanya is the choreographer. And we had James McKeon a few weeks ago.
We were
and
the
he
two
was-
male munchkins.
Yes.
We were the two guys.
But he was in high school at the
He
time.
was, yeah.
And you did that, and all your Actors Workshop friends, Charlie Ann and Madison and Annalise.
Maybe not Charlie Ann yet, but I think
That
the
was
rest of
before
them.
her time. Everybody
Yeah.
else was in it. And then the next year, so you're in 8th grade,
Mhm.
and it was the first year of the Minties.
Yeah.
And we needed, or Tanya needed, at Villa doing Bye Bye Birdie. So
Mhm.
go ahead.
It was the night before the big high school test. So it was a Friday night, and the high school test was Saturday morning. And Tanya calls my mom. And she was like, "What are you doing tonight, Peruggia?" And I was like, "I don't know. I'm like going to sleep early. I was like gonna study or something."
Wait, you weren't cast in the role?
No, whoever was Harvey Johnson, there was a Thursday night show, and something went wrong. He couldn't make it Friday, and we found out later Saturday night. So I was Harvey Johnson for 2 nights in the show, and it was I just went right in.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was your first Villa show.
Yeah, which was big.
Would you remember anything from that show?
I remember being Harvey Johnson. I thought that was good enough.
You were only in the telephone hour.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Did you perform in the Minties with them? You were
No,
there that
no.
year.
Yeah, I went to the Minties, which was at Snug Harbor.
It was at
But I
Snug
didn't
Harbor
perform.
with the famed balloon arch, as we've spoken about many a
Yeah.
time.
It was nice.
But so you did not perform.
No.
Did not perform. So now, the following year, though, you go into high school.
Yeah.
And you went to the very prestigious high school, the most prestigious Catholic high school, I would say,
Some would
in the
say.
country.
Okay.
I would say it. I
Sure,
would say
yeah.
it, and you should be very proud. Regis High School, named after, of course, my favorite entertainer of all time.
He was named after the school.
Yeah, well,
Got it. Okay.
thank you. And you were heavily involved in the forensics
Oh yeah.
at Regis, but you were still doing theater. So how did you? What was the first show you did in high school?
The first show I did was that first fall at Regis, and it was Into the Woods at Villa. And I didn't really want to do a high school show. I knew that I wanted to do Villa Drama because they were so fun, and I had known Tanya from before. But I was a little nervous about doing a show right at the onset because I was commuting for basically 4 hours a day. But I just love Into the Woods, and so I did it anyway. And it was that might have been my favorite high school show I was a part of.
Really?
That was an all-star cast, I feel.
Well,
and
yes, that certainly was.
Sondheim, I just love, and I just specifically love that show.
And you were Jack.
I was
You
Jack.
were cast as Jack. And how did you deal? Regis is up in the 80s.
86.
86 on the east side. So like you said, doing that commute in the morning, late night rehearsals as a freshman, without the aggressive, studies at Regis. How did you handle that?
I actually will tell you that I mapped out a plan with this is all coming back to me now, with Jess Lucchese. She had gone to Villa for a while, or she transferred from LaGuardia to Villa.
She's been to many a school, as she will tell you.
Sure. So she knew the ropes.
She did LaGuardia, and then she transferred into Villa.
Right. So she knew the express bus routes, and she mapped out on a piece of paper. She was like, you get off at Fingerboard Road right here. You press the button to get, tell the express bus to stop at this point when it's about to go to the toll, and he'll drop you off right here. And she mapped out how I walked to Villa from there. And that's how I did it. I did it exactly as she told me, and it worked great.
But mentally,
Yeah,
okay.
I had to
Physically,
work.
that's how you got there.
Yeah, I always
But-
felt that being a part of tough academic programs. I know a lot of the kids that do high school theater are part of AP classes and things like that. It kind of teaches you to time manage even better, because I'm the kind of person who, if I have an assignment or a test and I need to study, if I give myself 5 hours to study, I'll study that whole 5 hours. But if I give myself 3 hours, I really focus and I just hone in on it and get it done, which I guess I'm lucky I'm able to do that. But I always felt like if I had a rehearsal scheduled, I kind of compacted the rest of my time and made it work.
And
So
you
it
certainly
worked
did
out.
make it work.
I guess.
So obviously it was such a special show. It was, we've had so many people from that cast on the show, and they've all spoken about, doing Sondheim at that age, dealing with the themes of the show and so on. How familiar with you with the show, with Sondheim, before you did it?
I will tell you, you ask such great questions that remind me of a specific incident.
This is not rehearsed. This is not,
So yeah,
Pretty
I
good.
loved the tongue twisters. I thought it was really fun. The musical things that we had to do, the agility, those kinds of things I loved about Sondheim. But I don't think I really I thought about what each individual song meant, let's say, but I don't think I really got the zoom out what that show is really about until I watched the DVD a year after. I remember being a sophomore in high school and being in my room watching the DVD, and I realized during Children Will Listen that it was all about parenting and the stories that we tell our children and how we impart our morals and lessons and those things. And when I realized that, I stopped. It just all came flooding to me. And I was like, oh, that's why this one sings this, and that's why this, and each character and their parental figure and this, whatever, how it built out. And then I'm like, oh, and all the things my parents have done for me and whatever. And thank you, parents. You've supported me so much. But yeah, I think that's when it all sank in, and I just loved it even more. It was almost reborn for me. I love that show.
Your Fault.
Yeah.
How hard was that?
The show was cast slightly before I started school. So I knew that I was going to Regis. I was scared of the time commitment and those things. And I knew that I was Jack. And so I studied Your Fault before school started. I was like, I need to get this down and, Jack solo. I'm going to get these down and then I'll start school and I can, get the scenes and things like that. And that'll be easier. And so I practiced it beforehand and it was fun. It's also fun when you actually, I remember because I had the sheet music. So you're mapping out those notes, but it is my fault. I was given those beans. It like has those little increments. They kind of go up in a chromatic.
And also, you are extremely musically talented.
Thank you so much.
Off the stage, you play piano.
I do. Yeah.
When did that start? While we're on the
When
topic?
I was 4, my sister and I started getting lessons. I didn't practice very much, but it gave me a foundation. So I'm not the best pianist, but I definitely know a bit about how music theory works.
And I think that, tremendously helps when you're dealing with a show
Totally.
like Into the Woods, like Sondheim, something of that caliber level. So that is take a sip.
Mm-hmm.
So that is your fall show, and that's the only musical you do that year. Did you do
The Boyfriend?
you did the spring show at Villa, and it's funny. Most of the people that we've had on, they forgot.
Everyone forgets The Boyfriend, not me.
I remember I had some work function or whatever that when it was there, so I came to the school show in the morning. So I was sitting right up front with all like the little children from Villa. Yes, and they were not getting anything that was going on in that show. So The Boyfriend is just one of those like classic musical romps.
Very silly. Is
Julie Andrews first.
Oh yeah.
Yes, her first role. Did you have a part in that?
Not exactly. I was in most of the dance numbers, and then there was some reason the show was only like 45 minutes long. So there are 3 acts, I think, or maybe before the first act and before the second act. I went out in front of the audience with Anthony Massa, and we just killed time. So
during the actual performance?
During the performance of the show, we went out in costume and doing accents, which I wasn't very good at the accent, but we did it. And
was it related to, did you relate it to the show?
Well, we explained that the show, we were explaining that the show is a pastiche. So it's like a joking, making fun of the elite kind of thing. And we talked about that, I guess. I don't know.
So we've had Anthony Massa on this program. Didn't mention The Boyfriend at all.
Anthony.
He also failed to mention The Wiz that he did the year before at Villa as well. So we're getting the full Villa history tonight from Michael.
Absolutely. I'm a proud Villa drama man.
So the Minties come, and now you're going to perform in your first Minties.
Yeah.
And it is at the St. George, and you're doing Into the Woods.
Yeah.
And you're doing the finale.
The finale
of that show. What do you remember being on that stage? For the first time you went out on that stage, and then what do you remember of the actual ceremony?
Yeah, I remember standing on that stage, and we were so proud of that show and just coming together. Just that finale, how Janine opens it, and we're all just hugged by the warmth of her voice, and we were just there's really not much that we had to do until a little later. We're skipping around, but you're kind of just standing there thinking like, wow, we are really in this theater and we're in this place. And I honestly, my major thought about the first Minties is the opening number, because I was a nominee. And I mean, I'm sure people have spoken about it, but just going to those rehearsals and things was unlike anything else, because you're meeting all the other nominees and people from other schools who really care about this. And that was very cool. And the choreography was also really fun. And I loved, like silly Broadway songs and doing those dances. So that was really fun to be a part of.
And, I always talk about Minty Morning, the magic of when we get all the schools together. But one of my other favorite memories, and not really so much that year, because it was still new. That was the first year we did like a real opening number.
Yeah.
But the first nominee rehearsal, I make the kids go to somebody from a different school that they don't know. Mm-hmm. And it forces them to create friendships that then, build through the next 2 weeks. Yes, yes, it's a forced interreal, because you realize we may go to different school, but we have the same passion. We're interested in the same topics, and you're just such great kids, and seeing the excitement that you all feel in the weeks leading up? And again, it's not the excitement about winning an award, it's excitement about coming together and celebrating theater.
And what I'll also say is that as someone who went to Regis, and I know a few other people from city schools have done, Minty shows before, it was very nice because in Staten Island, there were only 5 kids who went to Regis in my class. So I had a much larger social circle here because of the Minties and, those Villa Drama kids who were also friends with those Peters kids. And eventually I was friends with a lot of the Hill kids, C kids like Nick and Joe. So that kind of building that whole thing, a lot of the other kids who went to Regis, because we commuted so far, they didn't have that. And so I was very lucky to have a community like the Minties supported. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Little PSA for the
Yeah, why
Minties.
not?
So now you become a sophomore, and now let's see, what is the fall? Do you do any fall shows that year?
Probably.
When was
yeah,
the
we
Apple
do.
Tree
The Apple Tree.
at Villa?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I loved being in the Apple Tree. That was actually my favorite part to play ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one were you?
I was Adam.
That was
Fiona and I
your,
were Adam and Eve.
and that was your favorite part that you played?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No offense, but so the Apple Tree is a 3-act and it's different shows in each act, and that is the most boring of the acts.
No, it's the story of Adam and Eve, and that it's cute, but also they have, I don't know, it had levels to it. There were moments with Eve that were sweet, and there were also funny things, arguments, and
every role you play, that's your favorite. You're going to commit to that in front of this millions of folks watching. And your mother sent it out to everybody. So I know we have a big audience right now.
Yeah, why not dive in? It's either that or the pepper shaker in Beauty and the Beast. It's a tight call. But I think I will go with Adam.
All right.
The first man.
If nothing else, then for that, then his role in human history. So that's very interesting.
It was really
I would
fun.
not have guessed that. And actually, I didn't see that show. So
Well, maybe that's why.
maybe that's why I'm biased against it. So that's all right. All right. So you do the Adam, were you in any of the other acts, or was just in that?
I think like Fiona and I
ensemble?
appeared
Okay.
as just callbacks too. Yeah.
And who was the snake? Do you remember?
Anthony Massa. Did he not talk about that either?
I don't think he did.
He did a lot of stuff.
So that was fall, and then
Anthony, I'm so sorry when you watch this. We're really grilling you. We're really coming for you.
we'll get you back on. You could rectify and
You have
all
a
the
little
other
comeback
shows that you did.
situation.
So now the spring comes, and Villa
always
announces
does.
that after winter that they're doing the greatest dance extravaganza of all time.
It's true.
42nd Street.
Yeah.
What was your tap skill up until then?
I did have experience tapping was Crazy for You the summer before that?
Yes.
So Crazy for You, we did it in the wings, and it was a huge tap show, and I was involved in some tap numbers. Tanya told me about a month before the show, do not buy tap shoes. Wear your dress shoes. We can't have you making sounds. So I smiled, did a laps, whatever, but I was not making any sounds. And so 42nd Street, I effectively went in cold. And then all of a sudden, Tanya believed in me. But yeah, it worked out great. I really like to do those little.
And were you not Billy?
I was Billy.
You were Billy. You were the main
I had
male
like tap
dancer.
solos.
Yes.
It's short, but yeah.
You're the main male dancer in 42nd
Absolutely.
Street, fulfilling the dream that you had when you were a youngster.
Of
Wanting
being
to,
Billy.
no, of wanting to be a dancer.
Oh,
you
yeah.
started this.
I
to pick
remember
you
that
up.
now.
What was that show like?
It was awesome. I mean, that show was a huge challenge. I mean, I remember those rehearsals. You just came in and it was like, okay, where are we in the number? And you kind of jumped in. I don't know, you pulled like a Gab Manzella off to the side and be like, please, you have to help me. I can't. Like, where's my weight going? I don't know what's going on. But those dances are also so gratifying when you get them right. So once it clicks, it really clicks. And Tanya did not hold back with the choreography there. I remember there's one part in the 42nd Street number, which is so long and so cool. and I got shot at the end of it.
Yes,
But
you do.
there is a part where there's 6 of us up front, and where there's 3 boys and 3 girls, and there's like kind of this like quick thing going on where we're all going side to side, but like the boys are doing something different than the girls, and then sometimes it meets up and sometimes it doesn't time wise. And it was so, I remember how intense it was, all of us learning it, but then when we got it, it was so exciting to get it when we just walked to the front and we were like, look at this, you know?
And that actually, we're gonna watch a clip of that in a little bit, because that is what you did at the Minties that year.
was the Minty performance. Great.
And that, like I've said, I think I've said it every week, because we've had somebody that was there, that 2013 was the high watermark for me of all those shows that year, just how special and how talented the students were, and especially 42nd Street. So we're going to enjoy a clip of that in a few minutes. Not yet. But we want to go now to the next year, because this was actually the final year of you in the Minties, your junior year.
Yeah.
But you went out with a bang.
I did.
And you switched schools.
I did.
This year.
That was another situation where someone dropped out of that show or couldn't do that show.
Really?
I was not originally cast.
Really?
If you're talking about Guys and
About
Dolls.
Guys and Dolls at St.
Yeah.
Joseph Hill.
Well, remember that semester was also Once Upon a Mattress at Villa.
And you were in Mattress
I was
too?
in both.
You were Dauntless?
I was Prince Harry.
Prince Harry.
Yeah, alongside Gab Fischetti.
So, well, so it's a good thing you didn't have to, oh no, Prince Harry, not the king, Prince Harry.
Prince, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Sir Harry.
Sir Harry.
Yeah.
Sir Harry. So how did you get cast in Guys and Dolls?
I was already doing Once Upon a Mattress, and I had known a lot of the Hill girls from forensics. So we do these speech tournaments every weekend at Regis, and a lot of times the Regis guys from Staten Island will hop on the bus with the Hill girls because they let us. And so they would drive us to whatever tournaments.
And 2 legendary coaches.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
you had, Mary Jane.
Yeah.
And Grandma Julia.
Yeah, that's true. They are legendary. And so I knew a lot of those girls from there. And then, they told me they were doing Guys and Dolls. And I was like, that's a great show, but I'm doing Once Upon a Mattress. I had always done the Villa shows. But there was some situation where someone wasn't able to do the show and they had the opening for Nicely. It was early on in the rehearsal process still, but yeah, I don't know if that's the role that people would have normally thought of me for, but that's the role I ended up in, kind of because of that.
And you were fantastic.
Thank you.
In that
I was
role.
so excited.
So Villa and Hill, they're separated by a hill.
They are.
Neighbors. How did you manage doing 2 shows at the same, within weeks of each other,
Right.
and school?
I don't know. I mean, it was all that time management. I will say that all the schools on Staten Island that I did shows with, I explained to them the situation beforehand, and they were very lenient with me because the earliest I could get to a rehearsal was 4. Because Regis ended at 3, and I'm sure their schools ended around 3, but they'd start rehearsing at 3. So I would get there late all the time and then have to play a little bit of catch up, but they knew that going in. So like,
And you would never want to,
directors.
not follow through and.
Yeah. I committed well.
And it's again, Guys and Dolls was an all-star cast as well,
Yeah.
with all of those leads. You had Kieran and Summer and
Mhm.
Grace and Phil and yourself and Sal and all around fantastic. So now you do really the 11 o'clock number of that show. Sit down, you're rocking the
That's
boat.
so fun. Yeah.
And that is the number that is going to close out the Minties that year. That was the last show to perform. But before that, your name gets called as the Outstanding Supporting Actor.
It's true. This was the 3rd time I tried to win that award.
That's through Jack and Billy
Yeah.
and now Nicely. So 3rd time is a charm then,
There
I
you go.
guess.
Keep trying. Never give up. Never give up.
And did you think that you might have had a chance at you? It was never, you never.
I always thought I had a chance, but I was wrong in the past, so I figured I'm probably wrong again. No,
What do you
but I was
remember?
really excited
What do
to
you
do it.
remember?
From like winning?
Yeah.
I think it was just I think I must have blacked out because I don't really remember the moment. I remember that I won and I went up and I did a thing, but I don't think I There's no I just remember going, just like going. And also by that point, the Minties had accumulated such a community that people knew me from every school. So when you're walking up, all the schools are really cheering for you, which is so sweet. And so you're just like so excited and everyone's screaming. And so all the stimuli are just in your face and you're just moving as fast as you can. So everyone doesn't have to wait for you to cross the stage.
And that performance was a great performance.
Thank you.
And I think a fantastic way to close out an abbreviated high school career in the Minties. So why don't we take a look now at a little bit of that 42nd Street tap dance, a little bit of Sit Down, You're Rockin' the Boat, and a little bit of that acceptance speech from 2014. Enjoy.
Bringing together Catholic high school theater and honoring it at the same time. I'd like to thank my parents and my beautiful sister Alexa for teaching me every day that every obstacle in your path is just another reason to keep moving forward on.
Those really were fantastic performances, absolutely. And unfortunately, you will not be around for the 10th anniversary.
It's true.
But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Sure.
All right.
I won't blow any surprises.
Okay. So your senior year at Regis, you opt not to do any of the shows. Was that
That's true.
an effort to just focus on college, your senior year? Why was the decision made?
I wanted to do Regis shows.
No, so they had a theater program.
They did. And it was very fun. Those kids were really nice. It just so happened that there was something happened my senior year where the director that they usually had do the shows wasn't able to do. So we didn't actually have a musical. We did a musical review, which was fine. And it was fun and it was nice to get to know them. Yeah.
Where would they get the girls from?
All the neighboring schools, kind of like they do in Stella.
Oh, okay.
So Marymount, a lot from Marymount, Spence, those kinds of schools.
So, but like I said, you end on a high note. So
And Staten Island.
Yes,
I also ended on a high note. We had the musical review I did, Something's Coming, and tonight from West Side Story.
All right.
And then in the spring we had a concert, and every year the concert has a different theme, and this theme was 70s. And I did sing Always and Forever, the 70s wedding song.
See, you should have given us that video. We could have showed.
I don't think we want to see that. That was an ambitious song for me. I try my best, but.
Now, I bet you also did the Villa concerts, though, a few years.
Oh, some of them, the Christmas concerts, the Beatles concert.
I remember
yeah.
you dancing in one of them.
Probably.
One of the spring concerts.
Yeah, I think the Beatles one I remember being a part of. I think I sang I Want to Hold Your Hand.
I don't remember,
Okay.
but
You don't have to remember everything.
That's my job, but I believe you. So 2015 comes to an end.
It's
You
true.
graduate from Regis, and you have a wonderful graduation party at Regis that we schlepp up to the Upper East Side for, because your mother is your mother, and
She really wanted that. I said, I don't need that. She says, we're getting it.
It was an auction to benefiting the school, and one of the prizes was a party
to
at
have
Regis.
your graduation party at
Yes.
Regis, which, you know, they get people to donate a certain amount of money, and then there are two people bidding, and they say, all right, you both win. So they get both their money, and they just throw two parties. So yeah, it was honestly really nice.
It was very nice. Jimmy Max catered, I believe.
He did.
He did. All the way, tri-state area. He comes up.
Absolutely.
So you graduate, and now for college,
Yeah.
you choose
Davidson College.
Davidson in the great state of North Carolina, and with an emphasis in the medical field.
I was a psychology major, neuroscience minor. And then, I took like the classes to get me to medical school.
And I think your passion for medical school and for that area is just so wonderful. Would you mind telling us what started your career track towards?
Yeah, I think, it did start. My sister has autism. She's 2 years older than me. So I was always kind of curious what's going on in there, So as I grew up, I was always kind of interested in neuro, but I never really, until I studied it, I wasn't sure I wanted to go into it. But then sure enough, I studied it and I thought, okay, this is very cool. I want to learn more about this. There's so much going on there. So yeah, it is my sister. And another thing that I want to mention, just because we are where we are, there's also something to, I think, acting, that growing up in acting, that there's this kind of thing that comes with getting into a character, that you're kind of training and just empathizing with totally different people. And so I'm kind of excited to be a doctor one day, because I feel like there is a quality of it where you're jumping into different situations and you have to kind of be ready for anything, that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, what is this like for this person? What are their tactics going to be? What are their circumstances like? Those kinds of things. Like, what is their objective here? Is their objective to have the thing that I prescribe, or do they need some sort of social service, whatever?
That's fascinating, because I never would have thought theater helping in that aspect.
Yeah.
So when did that first come to you, where that was always sort of?
I never really realized that that's what it was. I think in conversations in college, I realized, talking to my friends that also came from theater and wanted to do medicine, they kind of had me realize that was kind of a practice that I was doing. But also I think theater is helping, will help me in that path for a number of reasons. I just think, we're just kind of taught to entertain, and there's a quality of teaching and entertaining. Maybe not entertaining as a doctor, but
you need to know how to present
engaged
and to a different audience every time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So a lot of those principles will carry. But the main thing is, I guess, is the autism story. And I am, for the past 2 years, I have been doing autism research. So I'm doing,
we'll get to
science.
that. We got a lot to get to. Don't rush us.
I'm done.
But I want to talk about Davidson right now. What were you involved in? What did you do down there for those 4 years?
Yeah, I immediately joined. I knew I wanted to join a cappella, so I joined an a cappella group called The Nuances, which I eventually became the president of. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That's a new thing for you. And I also did the chorus called the Davidson College Chorus.
That I know.
Yes.
So I remember your fantastic audition tape for Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
Where you had, I think, everybody that was still on campus doing Belle, the opening number Belle, opening up windows, singing out in the quad.
I did. I even had one of my friends, how in the opening number Belle, she's like, look at this, isn't it amazing? And they're reading the book with the sheep, and then one of the sheep bites a page out of her book, at least in the cartoon version.
Yeah, we didn't do that in ours.
I had one of my friends bite a page out of my notebook as we, created this video to send as the audition.
And you got the bookkeeper.
I got a pepper shaker.
But weren't you?
I was also the bookseller.
Yeah. So you did the a cappella group, the choir, and you toured in amazing places with the choir.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
Tell us some of the places.
We toured
you went.
every year. The first year was Atlanta, Nashville, New Orleans. The second year was California. The third year was Italy. And the fourth year was Florida.
And at the Vatican.
Yeah, we did sing in the Vatican.
And how was that experience?
It was awesome. I mean, yeah, I always was learning harmonies at the Actors Workshop and the Villa shows, those Villa girls.
They know their harmony.
Robert Butler.
This is your shout out, Butler.
Oh yeah, I love singing those harmony lines with them. And so I knew that I could kind of do that thing, but then choral music is, the music theory gets a little bit, it's a step up. So it was very cool to engage with that kind of music. And then to present it in Italy, at the Vatican, but also in other churches in small towns like Lucca, but just stunning. And those churches are designed to carry your voices. It was very cool. So I think what I do want to say about being in the nuances and in chorus, because my school, it was a small school, they only did a musical every other year. And honestly, it was too involved for me. Like I had a lot of lab classes that took up a lot of time. So I really wasn't able to manage that. So I did, chorus and a cappella, which is still a lot of commitment, but I kind of reshaped my commitment to the arts in that way. And I think it's just so important that if this is something you love and you don't want to study it or you don't want to go into it, keep it around in any way, shape, or form that you can. It's very, very cool. And it
Absolutely.
just as a part, the nice thing about chorale was that it was once a day for an hour. And so it was almost therapeutic and you just kind of got to make music instead of do homework or study,
And doing
Break
something
up
that
the
you
day.
love doing.
Yeah.
And that has to be a great reward in that.
Mhm.
So you graduate undergrad in 2019.
Mhm.
Your mother again has an over-the-top party. I wasn't invited down to the lake house.
She loves a good party.
But you have a whole clan that goes down. Where in North Carolina is it?
The school is in a town called Davidson, but it's near this man-made lake called Lake Norman.
Not in, but by Duke, UNC, or not?
It's it's 30 minutes north of Charlotte, so it's a little bit west of Duke, UNC,
Okay.
those schools.
So like you mentioned, the last 2 years, you've been doing some incredible research and very timely research.
Mhm.
I don't know how much of it you can talk about or where you did it, but they're not watching. So tell us, what are you doing?
Yeah, so I work in this lab at Mount Sinai in East 100th, and so that's like the hospitals connected to the research building. And basically, I work in the Seaver Autism Center because obviously I care about autism. And they basically are breaking autism down. There are certain forms of autism that we know are genetic. And so there's one gene and it causes the autism. And 1% of cases, the certain kind of autism that I'm studying specifically. And so we have some, research with cells from people, and we have some research with rats. And I'm specifically involved with the research from rats. So I work with the rats. I got a lot of tubes, working a lot of things out. And that's what I've been doing. It's been really awesome. They're really, really great up there.
And you've had some exciting news just within the last few days.
Yeah.
That come the upcoming academic year, you will be attending medical school.
Yes.
And shall we say where you will be going?
Yeah, I think Virginia Tech Carillion it's called. Yeah.
Congratulations, one of the
Thank you.
nation's top medical schools, and we'll say it.
Yeah, sure.
Why not? But that's an incredible achievement, and again, shows, not only the work ethic that you've had since as long as we've all known you, but really the type of person that you are, that you want to do good in this world and give back to really everybody around you. So that is a real testament to you. So I hope you should be proud, and I hope you are for those reasons. So
Yeah, I got off a wait list. I was really sweating it out for a second there. So again, don't give up.
This was your top school, your top choice?
It was definitely one of the ones that I was really, really interested in. There's only 50 kids per year that go there, so it's very small. So it just becomes tough to get into because of that. And so I didn't know if I had a shot, but I did.
And what else have you been doing over this last pandemic-filled year? We have to give a shout
A
out.
little Grace bingo.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So the Grace Foundation, which supports people with autism on Staten Island, which my mom helped to found when my sister was diagnosed. It's, the pandemic is tough for everyone, of course, but especially for these nonprofits.
Especially for
People with
people,
autism.
yes.
Yeah, so a lot of their supports and services had to be stopped, and it's really tough for them sensory wise with the masks. It's tough for them socially because that's where they need to work on their skills a lot of the time. So Grace, they needed some money, and so we came together and we said we were going to do this little thing. And it started out once every other week, but now it's once a month. We do bingo games online, virtual bingo games. If you're coming at us from one of my bingo crowds, happy to have you.
You just had one this week.
Yeah, we just had
2
one
days
Wednesday.
ago.
So yeah, Madison Linsalata and I, she's currently Miss Staten Island, but she's my friend from the Actors Workshop a long time ago. Those friends I met from theater are still my best friends.
Do you think they're watching right now?
They better be watching. Yeah, so we run it and we just have fun and drink wine and call bingo numbers. So it can't hurt. We also usually try to sing a little song, which just to change it up and also to kind of keep our music alive, in this pandemic year. It's kind of hard to perform or anything.
Your mother's concerned you're not gonna be able to do it when you go to medical school.
She should be concerned. I won't be able to. I'll be in Virginia.
Well, we have Zoom. You could Zoom in
It's
from
true,
wherever
I
you're
could
doing
Zoom
it.
in.
But I guess we'll have auditions at your place.
We might have to have auditions. You might have to give it a shot.
I think that's what she's hinting at.
I
know. So 10 years of the Minties. Unfortunately, that's what we were getting at before you actually start medical school. Right
At the end of
before.
July, yeah.
Now, do you see yourself going more a clinician or on the research side? Where do you see yourself?
Virginia Tech is very research heavy, but still for clinicians. I see myself more clinician. I've done research now for the past 2 years, which isn't a million years, but it's enough for me to know that it's very cool and I'm interested in it. But on my day-to-day, I want to see people. I want to hear what they're up to. I think that's just exciting and fun.
You want to keep doing theater though, right? You want to,
Yeah.
I mean, to the extent that
I
you
think
could have it.
I think that there is a way that theater will always be around for me, whether, in this past year, it's obviously been hard for all of us to do theater because there aren't many avenues to do that. And so I've honestly been working on my piano skills just so I can have music around. And so I got those, those jazz real books.
Yes.
I got those. And so I'm singing like basic chords.
If I would have known, we could have turned the
Turn to the
camera right now,
piano.
do a little piano solo.
But so yeah, I think there's always going to be a way that I make it happen that at least music is around.
And I will say, you are actually the second, at least that I know of, a friend that I've kept in touch with, Minty winner to go to medical school.
I was thinking of this too.
Megan Mandio,
Megan Mandio.
a 2012 Minty winner, went to LaGuardia, got her whole career for the performing arts, and the most beautiful soprano operatic voice, and just such a wonderful, absolutely
Sweetheart.
wonderful person.
Yeah,
And I adore her and her family. But she went to medical school.
she did. I think she's either done or almost.
I
done.
believe she is done.
Yeah.
I believe she is done. So again, shows that theater or whatever path that you take, you could retain theater and that it is useful in all the paths.
Definitely.
So in closing, 10 years of the Minties, what would be your favorite Minty moment?
My favorite Minty moment has to be Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat, because I remember at the beginning of that song. Okay, sometimes when people sing that song, especially the version from the 50s, they buzz through it in like a minute and a half because you can. It's a quick song. People all say that, but I remember being like, I am going to milk that. I was in those lights. It was I kind of knew it would be my last time at the Minties performing. And so I said to myself, I am going to milk this Minty moment. And every pause I could take, I took.
And but I'll say this, you weren't hamming it up. You were deliberate
Yeah.
in everything that you did.
Thanks.
And it showed. and it worked. It worked.
Yeah, and
very
I also
well.
have to give credit to the accompanists at that time because they have to follow whatever I was doing. So we love that.
So, and as you've mentioned though throughout the interview, but what advice would you give to the current students now?
Don't give up.
I said you've mentioned it, but wrap it up.
When
for
you
us.
don't win a Minty, try to win that same Minty 3 years in a row. There was one year, I have to say, where there was a tie. I don't know if it was my freshman or
It
sophomore
was
year.
your sophomore year. Philly Booch won, and Kieran. Phil won for Drowsy Chaperone, and
Okay.
Kieran won for Oliver.
Cool. And deserving folks. But I just remember whoever announcing that award saying, we have 2 winners. So now if there are 5, I'm a man of probability. I
It
think,
was 7. Don't
7.
7.
Okay, well, I don't know what out of 100 that is, but I have a 1 in 7 chance. And then I was like, okay, I've got a 2 in 7 chance. That's pretty good. That's not as bad as 1 in 7.
That's
I was
very
like, I got
true.
this in the back. No, try again. Don't worry.
And you did.
No, but my main advice is honestly what I said about keeping it around no matter what you do, because it's important to who we are. I think almost everybody watching this, and it will show through in whatever you do, and it'll be a great strength. So figure out how it's a strength for you.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I like that.
we have fun.
We do. We have a nice chemistry, nice little rat-a-tat.
We're at the tattoo.
And I thank you for coming here, and I
course.
thank you for. I mean, you've been a part of the Minties since the beginning, even by virtue of your mother,
true.
if nothing else. But
By
you've
virtue
been,
of Tanya, by
Yes.
virtue of the work I did to be in Bye Bye Birdie.
yeah. I remember there were some judges that fought to nominate you for that. I said no. He's in 8th grade.
That was my real chance. Could have taken on the big mint.
But you are really, anybody would be lucky to have you in their life as a
Thank
son, as a friend. You're just truly an upstanding and outstanding
Thank you so
individual. Well, no, I mean that,
Yeah, I
and
know.
you are bound for great and more successes.
Thank you.
So I thank you for showing the potential of what our students could turn
Thanks so
into.
much. Yeah, and thank you for having the Minties, of course, as everyone said, the community it built. And thank you all for watching this, taking some time for us.
That's my part.
Okay,
All right.
I was kidding about what I said.
That being said, we have a real fun treat in store for you next week. I won't give it away. You'll find out midweek who our guests, plural, will be next Sunday night. Until then, as always, meet me at the Minties. Good night, everybody.